Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is John Viglotti. On behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you joined us for our Uranium Conference. We'll start off today with a live presentation from Deep Yellow. And before I introduce our speaker, a few points to note. Please submit your questions in the question box to the left of the slides. And if you're interested in scheduling a meeting with Deep Yellow, please click on the Meetings tab found on the left navigation bar. You'll be able to view the company's availability and submit a meeting request. On a final note, all of today's presentations will be recorded and available for 24/7 replay. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome John Borshoff. He is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Deep Yellow, which trades on the OTCQX Best Market under the symbol DYLLF and on the ASX under the symbol DYL. Welcome back, John.
Thank you very much, John, and it's a pleasure to be back on the virtual conference, a Uranium Day, and I'm talking from a hotel at the moment, so excuse the lighting, and it's very early in the morning, but I think a live presentation is always better than something that's pre-recorded. As you can see, Deep Yellow is aspiring to be a global tier 1 uranium company, and those who have heard me before, I regard Deep Yellow as a true emerging producer, as I feel that we have all of the necessary ingredients and credentials to deliver on our vision, and I hope you will see this through our presentation today. First of all, I just want to alert you to the disclaimer, which we're required to do, and it just means that I'll be making some forward statements, and if you think of investing, just to make your own independent assessments before you make your investment decision. So what are we at? I think we're a company that we've applied a consistent strategy over the past 5 years since I joined Deep Yellow, and we are delivering on all elements of this strategy. We are developing an operation from our existing project base in Namibia. We said we would do this as an organic, a part of the organic part of the dual strategy, and we're doing this. We said we would do sector consolidation, and recently, in August, in fact, we completed a merger through M&A, and which has expanded our footprint. So we delivered on that, and there'll be more interesting things coming up in future in this regard. And the big asset that we have is our team. This is particularly important in uranium that has suffered so much over the past decades. What with Chernobyl and Fukushima, the expertise log has been hollowed out through these events, and the expertise for developing uranium mines is not what it should be, and there has to be a big rebuild. I think we stand unique in the uranium sector, particularly amongst the production hopefuls, and because of this, I think we make a great investment at this early stage on the uranium boom that is about to happen. We have a strong balance sheet, best-in-class team, and as I say, it's all ahead of us. So just a few things to note here, and I just wanted to talk a bit that over the 5 years, we've not only built our team, these sort of leadership and executive levels. Most of the people come from Paladin, a company that I founded that was so amazingly successful back in the year 2000 when we developed 2 uranium mines in Africa, a couple of expansions, and were the only junior that actually delivered on vision and the only other group was Kazatomprom. So that vision to reality, I've kept those people, and in parallel with that, I've built the board, or we have built the board, because that's such an integral part of achieving those objectives. And we have a great technical team. We have a few funds in our register, and we've got $66 million in treasury, Aussie dollars. So the whole question is nuclear, and you'll hear everybody go on about the reasons why, and this, that, and the other, and there's no question that nuclear now is finding a revival, and there's really what is so important to me is that a strategy I had 5 years ago is as relevant today, even more relevant as it was when I started. That is, building projects from our own project base, consolidating, because the sector has been so sort of as I say, hollowed out, that it needs rejuvenation, and the team. And in parallel with that, we've had this sort of zero emission objectives, and they've had a profound effect on energy systems. It's shown the limitations that renewables really have now, and that a lot of these targets aren't being met, and nuclear is really making that space where it can deliver on sustainability, safety, low carbon footprint, 24 hours a day, either for electricity, hydrogen, industrial heating, whatever you like, and it's just made to come in. And this is evidenced by all of these big economies now. Probably over 80% of the GDP of or 60 at least, of the GDP of the planet is now, their governments have from top down declared, we need more nuclear. And yes, it's been inspired a bit by the Russian issue in Ukraine, but there's a lot more in this sort of incredible transitioning that's happening. So Deep Yellow is really uniquely positioned in this space, and it has been working to this outcome for 5 years, not on the latest events or what happened 1 year ago or two. We have a persistent and consistent plan that is getting us to where we believe the opportunities are. So, as I mentioned, our aspiration is to be a tier one producer, and to be like this is a lot of the junior hopefuls have only got one project, and I believe that to be a true sort of participant in the supply system, you have to have diversity of supply. You have to have multi mines, and really just be a sort of a mini Cameco. And the merger that we have finalised now has had an incredible positive impact on the company, in terms of now it's giving us an advanced project in Africa, into the Tumors Project, which is at a late stage feasibility stage, final feasibility, and this will be we'll have the first draft of that final in November, and it's a £3 million per annum operation, 25-year plus life of mine, and in a region where only 60% of that area has been explored, that zone that carries the ore body in a paleo channel, and it's only 60 metres deep, so it's up to 60, it's the average 30 to 40 metres, and it's ideal, and it's very similar to the project that I've developed with my team, Langer Heinrich, which is 30 kilometres away. It's in Namibia, a great country. So, and then we acquired Vimy Resources, and they have a project called Mulga Rock in Western Australia. This is also at late feasibility stage. It's got about 90 million pounds. Tumors has got about 120 million pounds, and it's a higher grade and 15-year life of mine. And we see a huge amount of upside on that. And in fact, in our September quarterly, we announced some of the aspects we have found that the previous owners hadn't identified, and we think will extract greater value from this and complete a DFS. In terms of which ones will be ready, Tumors will, I believe, be ready first, and because of the additional work we need to make the Mulga Rock from a 15-year to 20-year plus, get more of that in-ground value out of that project, both uranium and battery minerals. We think that project will be delayed, probably a feasibility finished in mid-calendar year 24. So in a progression, it will be early 2024. We'll have a decision to construct on Tumors, and possibly in the sort of mid-2025 on Mulga Rock. We have two exploration projects, Alligator River, which was a Vimy project, part of the merger. This is in sort of elephant country, the equivalent of the Athabasca in Australia, and there's a large land holding there, and we'll be putting effort there. There's exploration upside, and we believe toward the end of this decade we'll have a project identified for there. And Omahola, which is adjacent to the Tumors, is coming up with some great results, more of the hard rock type, analogous to Rossing and Husab, and that's also very prospective. So we've got a great land holding in two good jurisdictions, and we're strongly positioned to be able to execute to development and production with the team that we have. Just a little bit on the Tumors Project. As I say, that we've only announced some intermediate DFS results back in February. This is a project that will, we think a 25% rate of return based on the numbers, in the high 20s in terms of OPEX, with some bit of recovery of vanadium there, made also for environmental reasons, not just for a revenue. It's a great project. As I say, we think its upside will be, with the resources we know we can bring into reserves, that we'd be looking for a 35-year plus operation in this country. And for those that don't know, Namibia has been the only country in the last 15 years that has developed two modern conventional uranium mines in the country, and will be the next. So that's Tumors. The Mulga Rock project, it's in Kalgoorlie. It's west of, about 300 kilometres west of Kalgoorlie in Western Australia. It is again about 60 metres below surface in a lignitic ancient swamp material, and the uranium is caught up in that. There's been a huge amount of work by Vimy that has been done on feasibility studies. They've been working on that from 2012, and this project has got approval to mine. And so in Western Australia, there is an anti. They don't favour uranium mining, but this is one of the only project in Western Australia that has approval. And so long as we confine our activities within that approval regime, we have a project that can go to development, and the only aspects are the technicals to confirm how much value we can get out of the broader uranium values there, and also the critical metals and their cobalt and nickel and rare earths that haven't been optimized, and we think this will come out with some remarkable results. We've started geomet drilling there, 80 holes. Late this week we'll be starting, and then next year we'll be doing a huge amount of drilling, more for ore body variability, just to understand this ore body in a better way, so it becomes also financeable and tidy up the reserve base. Exciting, great. We've got approvals, and it will be probably follow Tumors by about 18 months. So we have a well-defined M&A strategy. As I say, we're working on a dual pillar growth strategy to develop a multi-mine pipeline. Organically, we've achieved this via our existing projects in Namibia, and inorganically, the first evidence of our efforts there has been the merger with Vimy Resources, and we've achieved now a scale in our company that is now got us into the top 300 on the ASX, and that allows us then to look at other opportunities from that scale to look at other developments that will be value accretive to the shareholders. But we're currently focusing on just assimilating the Vimy assets of at Mulga Rock and at Alligator, and this will be done by the end of this year, and then we'll be carrying on work on those both the projects, and also looking at other opportunities. So we have good ideas what we want to do. We have a vision in terms of where we think Deep Yellow will be placed. We don't think there's many junior hopefuls that are going for multi assets, multi-mines. Most of them are on their single assets, and when you realise what's happened to the destruction of the sector since Fukushima, where from 400 companies down to 50, they're building up now. We're in an incredible positive mode, and Deep Yellow is really focusing on what it needs to be to satisfy customers on long term. So with the long life of Tumors that will go out probably 30 years plus, we've got production potential out to 2050. With Tumors, that's 15 years, probably will go to 20. We can then offer our customers production optionality, security through diversity of supply, and all of those things that the more mature uranium companies can offer. And this is a product that the uranium industry really needs, especially when one considers what needs to happen in terms of new supply in the next 10 years. There'll be no new production without incentive pricing reaching the levels that are needed, and I think the industry is fully aware now that it's not going to just burn reserves without being able to replace those reserves through a fair reward of effort of selling product. My opinion is that uranium has to reach $60-65 minimum, and I think all of the markers are there that this will be achieved for many reasons. Even Cameco are voicing this. So where do we sit on the hitters scale? We're now one of the largest uranium resort based companies of a pure play on the ASX. Once in production, We will be looking combined from both of these projects about £6.5 million, and will be the largest pure play uranium producer on the ASX. We're operating in favourable mining jurisdictions, and we've got a balance sheet and a capital management sort of history that we are very confident we can fund and execute our dual strategy, and also fund the development of the projects as and when they come online. So, in closing, I think we are a compelling uranium story. I think that we probably have the only team that has delivered uranium projects of a conventional type. Well, it's unique in any junior. Not just technical, not just leadership, not just understanding what all those elements you need to bring operations together, fund them, and have utilities appreciate that. We had a vision. We turned that vision into reality. Those pounds in the ground into drums on the surface, and delivered safely and environmentally properly. And that's given us great credential that people will say, yes, if we make contracts with you guys, and that we're assured that in 3 years thereafter, you'll actually have the product delivered to our facilities. And that's a very important aspect that we offer. Tumors is a great project. It's world-class, long-life asset. Mulga rock, it's really, at the moment, on the announcements, we believe will make a much greater project than what is already known, and will be multi-commodity, and watch this space. We've got great exploration upside, not only within the projects of Tumors and Mulga rock, but also in the exploration assets we have in the Alligator River and adjacent to our Namibian Tumors. The market outlook is exceptional. Growing recognition for nuclear, which I'm sure all listening here will agree, and that I think nuclear will have the place where it has all the attributes to help out a quite beleaguered renewables technology, which essentially only works properly for 6 hours a day. We'll have continued focus on consolidation, because I think there's still much upside there, and the sector needs repair, and that our focus is, as I say, to develop a globally diversified tier 1 uranium company, and we're focused on becoming a reliable long-term producer, and that can partner utilities and assure them of security of supply, not only by ability and credential, but also by geographic diversity. And with that, I'll hand over to some questions. Now, I've got... so the questions here is, what do I think the spot price of uranium will be by the end of 2023? A good question. So I think that the price, for me, will start moving from mid 2023. I think it's this huge sort of demand that's coming up, and if one can sort of look at when China came in and said in 2003-4 that they were going to build 52 reactors, at a top-down decision, it galvanized the price, it galvanized the industry for a while, and it had a huge positive impact. Now, in the last 2 years or less, there have been that many governments have committed to nuclear with as much reactors as what China said 20 years ago. And on top of that, China has declared another 150 to 2035. So why I'm saying this is the utilities are starting to realise, I believe, slowly will realise that complacency, that sort of their reluctance to pay good dollars for uranium, for a fuel that is absolutely what's needed, and with SMRs and everything coming in, so that complacency, I think, will disappear in 2023, and I think that the uranium price will be in the 60s. I won't conjecture more than that, but even Cameco said marginal production, they wouldn't object to $90 a pound. And these are numbers that 3 years ago were never spoken about. The other question is the uranium spot price now sufficiently and sustainably high to make Tumors commercially viable development? I have always said that we would never develop a mine below in the 60s. Understanding the market, I don't want to create any legacy contract for my shareholders rushing at the gate, and we will hold till it's a fair price, what the market really needs, and to encourage a huge amount of new development. So we're not even interested on developing any projects in the 50s, and I still think that the young pups that are sort of going and getting these contracts, rushing in early is not to their full advantage, and we don't believe the market will be taken up by those people that are trying to get these contracts. The next question is thoughts on valuation and what would be the catalyst for a revaluation. If you're meaning in terms of Deep Yellow, I think we've got all the ingredients now where people are watching us in a completely different light than many others, and that's a combination of two things: two very good assets, and one very good team. Where I don't think anybody else could say we match this across the board, A to Z, and this is an industry where, as I've said, in the 75-year history, outside of the US, only 3 companies, 3 juniors, have successfully made uranium at scale, and that was Denison in the 1950s. During the sort of military period out of Canada, a small event of a company called Queensland Mines, which only developed a small operation of 23 million pounds in Alligator, and and Paladin at 8 million pounds a year from nothing, and developed something that we are now benefiting in Deep Yellow from. So these people are not going to go so easily into the uranium. Why is that? Who knows? But history tells the story. I'm not making it up. So our evaluation is going to be that the catalyst will be as we deliver on our feasibility studies, going into FEED, getting our project financing, and looking at in our sort of 600 to 700 million market cap. It starts opening the eyes of larger funds, and with that will come the revaluation, I believe. Finally, am I confident the Namibian government will insist on compulsory local equity ownership? This is a question that has already been sort of assured. There's 5. The government's quite happy with a 5% local equity interest. We're relaxed. There is no South African equivalent in the country, and our MLA which we think will be granted early next year, has got the required amount of the equity local aspect. So I don't think that's a fearful thing at all in Namibia, and there's a great regime that's handling it. And ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have. And anyone else wants to ask questions, please drop me an email, and I'll answer you directly. Thank you very much.